Hey beautiful, welcome back. My name is Midi if you're new here. So my locks was due for retie on the 1st of July, but I've just been busy, so I push it forward. I didn't even get to oil my scalp. Guys, I have dry scalp and this is not something that should be forgetting, but life has just been lifing. So 2-point rotation is when you interlock the roots of your hair in two direction only, north to south, west to east, or south to north or east to west. Depending on whether you are left-handed or right-handed or the position that you take when you want to do your interlock. Even if somebody else should do it for you, it depends on aforementioned. Okay, so 2-point rotation is usually the convenient rotation when you self retie. Honestly, some people don't really like the pattern formed with 2-point rotation. Nevertheless, it's what some other people prefer. The 2-point rotation allow your locks to swell more compared to 3 to 4-point rotation, which are very tight. However, it will still come out tight. There are people that this is what they started with and they stick with it. It's okay by them. I've gotten a message from someone that told me she started with 2-point rotation and that's what she still does and she doesn't see anything wrong with it. Whereas there are people right here on this platform that will come out and tell you that they don't like it at all. It looks this, it looks tight, it's not tight, it's flat and stuff like that. But in the actual sense, it is what works for you that you should stick with. If you find 2-point rotation to be convenient for you, then maybe you should still stick with it. If not, you try other method. Whatever works for you, whatever rocks your boat is what you should stick with. Okay. As for me, I don't see anything wrong with 2-point rotation. It is quite convenient, in most of the time. And I have come to realize that if the strands of your locks are thin, you have like low to medium density of hair. You might want to try 2-point rotation because even though it is tight as well, it still allows the locks to swell after a while. Okay, and if you have thin hair already, it might be something that will work for your hair. Another thing that I want you to take note of, however, is that because the hair on our head is not of the same density and texture, most of the time, the hair strands at the edges of our head are looser, they are softer, and sometimes they are more silky, depending on the type of hair that you have. So in this regard, you might want to consider using the different rotation for different texture of the hair on your head. Okay, in an area where you have less dense or more silky hair, if you use 2-point rotation, you might find out that the strands of your locks are looser and they might even unravel after, a while towards the tips most of the time. So you might want to consider using 3 or 4-point rotation in these areas. Okay. There are people that when they use 2-point rotation all over or in the major part of their head, they realize that they don't like the way it feels in their hand. Maybe it's softer, okay, or it's not firm. All right. Some people just, they just love that feel when they touch the hair. Some people, it is the pattern that they are not really into. Okay, and then the pattern of interlocking will be more visible if the strands of your lock are bigger. For strands that are thin, the pattern are not that obvious, especially when the locks are getting older. Okay, but if your lock is big sizes, you'll see the pattern more, clearly. And this is something some people do not like. Nevertheless, it is what is working for a whole lot of people. It is what it is usually used for MICROLOCS. Okay, and as for me, areas where I find 2-point rotation to be convenient, that is what I use. And sometimes if my hands are in a position where I could do 3 or 4 point rotation, I do that. Okay, but I have decided that any locks that is thin, okay, because of course I made these locks myself, I installed it myself, and so the sizes are not the same, the sizes are not uniform, I'll say. So areas where I feel that the strands are more dense and they are not so thin, and I have a lot of hair that has grown out, okay, this area I tend to use 3 to 4 point rotation, okay. But one thing that I have come to realize is that in most cases I use 3 point rotation, but for the sake of this tutorial I'm using 2 point rotation, okay. It's not as if I don't use 2 point rotation at all. I use it, okay. It's not just like all the time, it's as if unconsciously I kind of use 3 point rotation most of the time, but I don't see anything wrong with 2 point rotation. In fact, after I finish making this hair, I'm sure that I might even be using 2 point rotation, most of the time. Okay, so guys, I'm going to stop here for you guys to see, pay attention to what I'm doing, and thank you for tuning in once again. Stay blessed, stay beautiful. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.